aim is to look at new education, both in terms of the topics that we are dealing with and in terms of the way we are working on. Some of our earlier meetings we had as full day meetings. Then we decided we'll have half days more effective meeting, and therefore we also decided to have a WhatsApp based course preceding that, so that you don't hear something for the first time and so on, and you're already familiar with it. This meeting today is basically a follow up on the WhatsApp group on big data, to which we found a lot of interest, lots of what I would say thought provoking comments, and also a set of larger issues around it. The way I'd structured this was that I'll say a few things to begin with, then Sanjay Sinha, whom you've all known through the WhatsApp, will have a thing for 1 hour, then we'll have a break, then we'll have again a circle where he will speak for about an hour, and then Bhupesh will speak for about 15 minutes or so on ethical issues, and then of course, I think once he has talked about ethical issues, it will be a never-ending process, so we'll stop at that point of time and continue. There's been a lot of interest in big data, and I saw from the group that there are many issues, and Sanjay will try to first capture what are the core issues, and of course, you're all free to make this very interactive. This is no longer like a class. As kickoff, I just want to say that, see, computer people aren't very good at coining words or names. So unlike what you see in medicine or in other fields, there are itis and otitis and this, that kind of word. We say big, small, and since megabytes, gigabytes had already been taken, they couldn't say giga data, etc., because it's already much more, so they use the simple term big data. But this idea of all the data in the universe is a very old idea. Actually, when physics was first started, you almost had the feeling that if you knew the, what I would say, the position and velocity of all the particles in the world, you could determine the whole future of the world because you knew the law of kinetics and so on. You don't go to the atomic level because the things get worse, but if you were looking at all particles and you knew where they were and in which direction they were moving, you could predict what the world would be forever. And I want to draw attention to this because that same rhythm is captured in our tradition of Chitragupta having a record of all things that we have done, right? So there is some other Chitragupta who's recording all this. And those of you who have an interest in astrology also know that Bhrigu Sangita is a concept where everybody's life has been there for all the gems there, and if you go to the right Bhrigu Guru, he will be able to tell you everything. I think that's the kind of hope from big data also, that once we have all the data in the world, we will do that. Technology has moved very fast, so that our capacity to create data, store data, and also do something with the data has expanded very much suddenly. And that is where the caution that seems to have come in much of the thing has happened. And the point is, there's a very famous quotation by somebody that, what is it, that everything that we counted does not necessarily have value, and everything that has value cannot be necessarily counted, something like that. So one of the problems with big data happens is that these tools are there, you can do this, so you feel that, okay, let's go and do something. What happens next? And I'd like to tell you this amazing story of this used to be somewhere in my childhood. And typically, when you're going in a train, out of the window, you will see all these farms and cattle on that farm. And this idea was that one fellow is telling the other, that, can you count how many cows are there? And he says, yes, I count 55. And the other says, he also, next time came, he counted very fast. He said, how did you do it? He said, no, I counted all the legs and divided by 4. That is what is happening to big data sometimes, that you are processing a large amount of data to get an insight which you could have probably got with a smarter amount of data. But the important point is that a large part of this story is still unfolding. And therefore, people are doing what they can, but not necessarily. So you'll see lots of counter stories of how it did happen. And in my post last time, I posted the Gartner hype cycle, that this happens whenever anything new happens. You have a huge promise and you believe this will change everything, and then you have disappointment, and then you stabilize, well, this will do this, but it won't do that. So between data and insights. And I think that is what hopefully Sanjay will explain the whole big data landscape about the technology, the storage, the creation, predictive analytics, all this kind of thing. But there's a famous fallacy which is called ergo hoc propter law, which means after this, therefore because of this. And this is one of the problems when you just do computing, because you may get something which is correlated, but correlation does not mean causation. So when Modi used to say that after he became prime minister, oil prices fell down, I used to say after I started teaching flip teaching, oil prices fell down. Right? So there's no correlation. The two things happen, but that does not mean they are correlated. And this is one of the things that we must not lose sight of. So that is the story, and of course, the other thing that is there is that lots of things will come up. So we need to be, the human mind wants one simple set of things to explain everything. That's why we saw a lot of things, whether big data will kill small data or small data. No, they are different regimes. So take physics, for example. In physics, you have a day-to-day regime of Newtonian mechanics. But then there is a regime of quantum mechanics for very small kind of things. So this would be, in my view, personalized behavior in a real sense. We're understanding the each human being. And then there is cosmology. Now, till yesterday, Mars and Jupiter and all these things were far away and didn't mean today you can distinguish between that. So, in a sense, big data to me is the cosmology of physics where you're talking about larger things. And therefore, to that extent, there will be imperfection. So, you measure things in light years and so on, and don't expect that kind of precision. So, in terms of sharing a few thoughts, as I said, our broad endeavor is to change education. My belief is that mobile is the way to go. And the more and more I see of data about mobile accessibility, there is no doubt about that. So we use WhatsApp as a messaging system. We are not wedded to WhatsApp in that sense. So any mobile messaging system which is a useful one is something we will use. We also see that apps will be a very important aspect. Although there can be a theoretical debate whether I can just use the website and browse it on a mobile or I have an app, but clearly the skill to be able to use an app or at least create an app is interesting. So our next event is really on creating educational apps. Because we are talking about educators and not programmers, we are looking at a tool called App Inventor 2 to be able to do something quickly. These are of course extremely limited. It will give you the feeling that you could create an app. So the next meetup is going to be about that. And on that day, we expect that everybody who comes in comes with a laptop with a Wi-Fi dongle so that they can actually make an app there. And all things required before that is something that we will do during this week in terms of giving you information, etc. Download App Inventor, do this, get familiar with all that stuff. So that is what we will do through the WhatsApp group, which you can do at home. The list of next meetups is now available on meetup.com. A lot more people are now members of Meetup, and that becomes one place where we can share this and schedules are given. We will continuously try to improve upon that and add topics. So, for example, Sanjay has agreed to give a session on blockchain sometime, and blockchain is again one of those tools which are going to change. So, if you look at the things that we are seeing today, big data, Internet of Things, blockchain, machine intelligence, these are not different things anymore. They're all going to be coupled. They're all going to, so for example, big data and Internet of Things are very strongly coupled. And once you have big data, machine intelligence is very strongly coupled because machine intelligence becomes more successful if there is larger amount of data sets available. So in a sense, it is the unfolding of a completely new world which we are talking about. And these courses we're designing as the startup course. So if you look at this big data thing, it began with very simple things, examples, what the idea, and toward the end, Sanjay has given a lot of resources about books that you can do, books that you can read, links that you can see, and of course, you can always be mentored by him. That's another thing. So that's the way. One more piece of information I want to share with you because this is a set of ideas which is unfolding. Is that I've kind of decided that we will try to expand our kind of an activity, and therefore the next place that we will locate for this is going to be Allahabad because I come from Allahabad, and we've identified somebody, VK Sinha, who's sitting there, will be the director of that center, which we are calling as a Center for Self-Directed and Lifelong Learning. And the idea is that, like she is the youngest one here, we should reach out to a lot more people in terms of the availability. So one of the things that we can do at that center is that this live streaming is kind of available. They can always be on WhatsApp. And we want to create some special efforts for self-directed learners, especially in two areas. One would be app creation, and the other, if we get the support from Avikshit, would be on 3D printing. So we will bring a small place there where people can explore what 3D printing is, work with it, and so on. And once we have worked out both these things, then we can see other expansion possibilities to the rest of India. So that was my way of introductory remarks, and I think now we can all, and including myself, look forward to Sanjay talking about this. We're delighted to have him here in person.
Thank you so much.
Could you pull the folder?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you.
So what more do you think I should start with? We had covered a lot of things in the WhatsApp group. There were certain questions which I have probably tried. So let's start first with a bit of a understanding you people have now about. I think big data is a term which is touching everybody somewhere or the other. And again, as I had mentioned earlier, big data just been coined as big data. And it was always data which used to be taken in for any kind of intelligence since ages. At home, if you see, you do some analysis before buying any stuff. That's again data, prices of one place from other, and then taking the cheapest one. Your general spending, again, you do some data analysis on budgeting, planning about where you get your and where you put your money, how do you spend it, and how much that you save. So data was always being used for some of the other things which involved intelligence of whatever intelligence you can say, even for all aspects basically. What now they coined is as big data, as I said, is basically that term came in because there is a possibility or what you can say the option of people to capture a lot of data, and that they couldn't find a better term but named it as big data. Okay, termed it as okay, if you still find it as anything which can help out.
There was one question I had put on the WhatsApp group, which I am wrestling with.
Yeah.
This is related to the SMEs. The SMEs don't have the capacity or the computing or the collection of big data or to analyze the analytics part of it. So what is it that you suggest for SMEs?
When you say SMEs, is basically
Small and medium enterprises.
Oh, okay. I thought subject matter expert.
No.
Okay.
I'm totally taking from a business point of view. I'm not taking from an academic point of view.
Yeah, but small, there is no difference between a small business or a big business of data.
So
There are
saying the basic capacity that organization has in terms of data crunching or the collection of data.
Yeah.
Or
I have
using it for analytics. They don't have those skills that are available with them.
nowadays with these companies coming up with cloud and AWS of Amazon and Google giving you Google Analytics, which is kind of free. Most of the SMEs are into it now. Even small bakeries in different countries have started just counting the footfalls and finding out.
I'm talking about the Indian.
Yeah, even in India, I recall when I was working with HP, there is a Hindustan Lever. It's a big concern, but they were focusing all their distributors, putting in video cameras to know if that guy is selling products. As an example, I'm saying. So, how many of those products are of Hindustan Lever, and if there is a toothpaste somebody is buying, whether it is Hindustan Lever or somebody else, so that they can incentivize those people. So these type of things are happening at a very low level. So it's not that, yes, there could be they wouldn't be able to invest big, but putting a CCTV camera and just capturing the data, moving it to somebody who can expertly, what you can say, analyze it and help them is possible. And that is what is basically happening now. It's not that they are untouched. There are certain small, what you can say, examples of companies who are doing these US, used cars are sold, right? In India also they have started this way. Used cars are sold, but lot of times they don't have the whole information about those cars. It's basically dependent on, okay, the guy comes in, he says, yes, there will be no accident, and whatever pedometer says this much it has run and all. So now they started analyzing it basically with some data. They don't have all, what you can say, all the data or the history of it. But based on the servicing that guy has done, what kind of options they have, the study about the cars, typical car, if it's a particular model of a car, in the general trends and all that. And based that they put in the correct prices of it. Even recently, I gave an ad of my own car I wanted to sell. There was a guy who came in, he did an inspection and all, put it on the website, same Ola, and put it as stamped, verified. Basis that there is a lot of traffic which comes in because people were trusting that this guy is told. So this is again not very much of an expensive stuff. A guy comes in, he just verifies physically that whatever is shown on the photograph is like that. Then he asks some question, puts it, and then they say it's a stamped and verified. So there are a lot of small and medium businesses who are now getting it. That whether it's small or big data, it's all that. There were certain times even putting these small mom and pop stores in US, they were analyzing a particular medicine, whether for a headache they have four. But there was one particular medicine which was being used very commonly where people, or you could say like in India, Ceridon, maybe it's an example. So most of the people buy Ceridon. There are others, but they're not. So if a guy who's making these, the drug manufacturer, so I was working with a company known as Corner Drug Store. They were doing this only. They were analyzing all the mom and pop stores were provided a web presence. So after that, people were allowed to directly order the prescription medicine through that website. So the question was, what will they do? They don't get money because the guy goes and just picks up that medicine because it's been ordered, or they probably supply it at their house. But in between that, the data which was captured about the medicines which were more popular or less popular, companies like Eli Lilly and all those drug manufacturers, it was very useful for them because they can accordingly manufacture. Earlier, what was happening, like all the medicines were being manufactured in one lot, like all 10,000 of each. Now they know this 10,000 gets exhausted, but the rest 10,000 go expire because they're all having shelf life of expire. So they can do 2,000 for the rest and 10,000 for this. So these type of things are happening, which is affecting to all these small medium businesses as well.
If I may also add to what you're saying, still my own perception on this, sir, is that the small and medium enterprises have a fundamental advantage over the big enterprises.
Yeah, in fact, the
because they are
agility,
far more agile,
right?
and today because of cloud-based and open source solutions available, they have a fundamental, I would say, head start over the bigger companies. So my view is that if you are a big company, you are at a disadvantage vis-a-vis in today's time because
In terms of responsiveness?
in terms of responsible and ease of utilizing cutting edge technologies and know-hows. So if you're reading big data to mean big company, I would say that there are a number of small companies, for example, I run a management consulting firm, and we are networked with a lot of very, very small companies around the world. They're very tiny, some of them are one-man companies, some of them are five-man, eight-man companies. They're doing some amazing high-quality work ahead of way ahead of the big companies.
It's basically taking advantage, as you rightly said, the value of big data has to be taken in.
Yeah.
And whether it's a one man show or 200 people doing that, the best thing is because the value of the business changes, can be brought in faster with the smaller companies. A company like Hindustan Lever, yes, it might take in the data, but changing a whole business process itself is a big problem for them. So the smaller companies are able to move quickly and take that whatever the advantage about that agile thing.
And I think one more thing, so there is a Mumbai-based organization, Arya.ai, I don't know whether you've heard of that.
Sorry?
Arya.ai. So these people are creating a cloud-based application and providing the APIs where these SMEs can integrate and put their data and use.
Yeah, nowadays this analytics part, most of it is being provided as a service. AAS, they are calling it, and it's all through either of the three clouds which are popular. Microsoft Azure, AWS, or Google has started it also. In fact, Microsoft announced it for the financial services that they are putting up the servers, cloud servers in India in Pune. The reason was most of the financial companies I also was talking to during HP days. They were not willing to share the data because it goes abroad. So there is a law saying that whatever it is, but in spite of it being masked and everything, we won't allow the data to go outside the country. So, and these are all focused on smaller areas. It's not that you need the data for, like cooperative banks have started looking into analytics, finding out about their customers. They say that they have their account, but they don't do anything except keep money in the saving banks. Or they make their credit card payments from here, they make their other bills and everything, but we don't know any. So they want some customer profiling to be done. They wanted some spend analytics, which was basically their transaction analytics and all, and identify who are the better customers or who are the customers whom they can probably see that whether they'll churn, look into other banks, or maybe they can themselves ask them to provide other products to them. So these things are now touching the lives of almost everybody. I think this was covered Buzz, and this example was also done about how it starts. It's a US based thing, so it talks about blanket Manhattan, you can consider Bombay or any other city for that. And then it extends to exabytes and yottabytes. So if you consider big data, which is probably covering the whole earth, it would be yottabytes. And if we relate it this way, these are the companies which are using extensive use of big data. And again, when I say using, is basically they are living and dying on that. Companies like Facebook survive only for analyzing whatever you do, your likes, dislikes, even a small click, all that ads that come in, they are tailor made for you. What kind of interest you have, they sell the data to others. So, as Bhupesh was pointing out about the privacy concern, we are openly doing it without knowing what is the privacy and what is left of that. So that part is also covered.
Okay. So, could you please just explain how data, what is the relation between data and filling of an ocean or an earth? Are you getting volume or mass? I mean, to data?
Yeah. So, as an example, basically we started with a byte of data and then went ahead to exabytes and yottabytes.
Yeah.
The relation is if you are analyzing data, which is say in an Excel sheet,
Right.
earlier it was 256 only, right? That's the amount of whatever. Now it expands to 2000 something. Like Excel has been expanded. So there the size grows. You analyze the same stuff, you get a better pattern. You get a better trend on that. If you summarize 20 values of a data and 2000 of them, you may probably infer a better result. So that is where the advantage is coming for big data. Plus, there were certain things earlier which were not captured. Like the sensor data is there are analytics on the text, even PDF files, they have word being text.
Yeah, actually, what I was asking is the data is saved in binary format, right? On a, let's say, on any kind of storage.
Some medium, yeah.
So how are you relating it with, how are you giving it volume? For example, fills the Pacific Ocean. That's what I'm asking. What's the relation?
No, it is just an analogy. It's not that it's given in as a
that's what I'm asking.
every drop of water, if it considers in the ocean as a byte, so that is what it is.
That's the relation.
Right. That's the
giving byte
right.
One drop of water.
Sample size
It's just a
See, this is not meant for people like you. See, what you're saying, byte is 1 grain of rice, so kilobyte is a cup of rice, which means it's about 1,000 grains. You already know 1,024 grains of rice. So this is meant for a general audience. See, because some of these stories are meant to tell people first time who don't have any idea.
Yeah.
Byte, kilobyte.
Just
So
relate.
byte is like 1 grain of rice, so a cup of rice is a kilobyte, a truck of rice is so much, and so on. Don't get distracted.
So how can you categorize of this is like you are saying that big data is also is in SME.
Yeah.
So we can say if a company is using a gigabyte or a terabyte data, then he's using data.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It's not that considered that big data is, as I said, this term is very confusing. A lot of people don't know exactly when you say big data, it means only a voluminous data. It's that whether it's little data, what you can say a small data, or big data, if you are taking out a value from it, that is whether you can get an insight. A small store takes out 1 month of sale receipts and analyzes it. So what is the product which is being sold most within a month? For a SME, if you say, he would be having not so many, right? Would be probably 20 cups of whatever, cornflakes and 30, 100, whatever. And they can decide that these are the products which are being sold maximum. They can gain some insight that these are the products which in the inventory always go off. So people come here and they don't get it. So we have to replenish that more than the other ones. That's a small insight which is basically focused on an SME with small data also. 1 month of sale receipts, that's it. Or probably they want to know about their customers through their footfalls. So how many customers every day come in? It's 1 day data. 20 customers or 15 customers, and then they could. There are organizations which had put in CCTV cameras on their windows. So there were people looking at their what they call as a window shopping, and then go. So they started analyzing their facial expressions. There may be people who are liking it or not liking it. Based that they change the products inside the window. Whether this dress is more popular among, because you can see the expression of that guy or lady or whatever, if she's very much interested into that and then comes in or doesn't or passes off or buys it at some place. So these type of analysis is being done. This data obviously would not be within a week they can find out.
In fact, this term is called neuromarketing.
Yeah, you call it neuromarketing, obviously with
Complete book on that.
yes. So there are so many examples nowadays. It's basically again the person who's thinking it, how to from the same data how he can interpret or get some insight to change their business processes, and that's where it comes in. Whether SMEs are faster or the big companies are faster. See, if they have to decide about changing their inventory, that these products are not being sold. There are multiple examples. Walmart, long time ago, they had found out that with beer, these diapers are sold best. Why? Because anybody who comes in on the weekend buying diaper, they would pick up a can of beer as well. So they just put both of the stuff together. It's easier for them. Similarly, for some other thing like ice cream and other items, all they had to do is look at those receipts, sale receipts, that people are buying these things commonly. So all they have to do is do the shelving, so that these products are together. People will be quickly coming in, picking up diapers, their beer bottles, and the sale increases. Sometimes because of the reason that people are not finding it, they are not buying it. So it is again not something to do with specifically on SMEs or bigger organizations. Now, as I said, these changes to be brought is better for a smaller company if you want to reach shelf and all compared to Walmart. Though nowadays it's nothing like that. Even because if you can increase your 2% sale, any company will like to do it, whether it's a big company or a small company. But it affects everyone. So this again is the same statement talking about the size of the data. It's about the value within the data. So interpreting that data in a way that you can improve your whatever intelligence on it is considered to be important, most important, whether it's big, small, or any type of data. So when we talk about intelligence, whether it's market or what you call as business intelligence, this business intelligence term, I think I'm not sure how many people you would have known. For years, we have been doing this business intelligence and data warehousing. So when data warehousing was done, again that was considered as all the data from an organization, different sources, pulled in, put inside a data warehouse, and then queries were run on it. There are organizations, there is a company, Teradata, which only thrives and survives basically because of data warehousing, because they don't do anything in life except do data. I was part of that for a while. So we sold only what you call as business intelligence systems, who help data to be pulled in from all the source systems, put inside at one place, which was considered as a data warehouse, and then run queries on that data to generate the standard MIS reports and all these regulatory reports, as well as do any business intelligence.
Then take decision making, basically.
Basically,
This is of
executive information systems, MIS, whatever that was known. That has been expanded now, because earlier what happened, it was all structured data. So like I can give an example of a bank. In a bank there are different applications which are used. One is core banking, the other would be internet banking. There are channel, ATM data coming in, or even they're selling products of different other companies like mutual funds and insurance. These are different applications which are running it. So a customer comes in, he probably buys one or two products, or just a CASA customer, what they call as a current account or a saving account customer, one customer is that way. All that data from different sources pulled in, and after the day is over, once that transactions and everything are over, that data moves inside the data warehouse. Now you have a consolidated data of whatever, as an example, I can tell you about a public sector bank, Bank of Baroda. We had 49 sources, which means 49 applications, all being run. And from that, the loan system, the core banking, internet banking, all that data was consolidated in one place in a data warehouse. Post that, again, the marketing department would need the data for their own intelligence. They would like to know, okay, which are the products which we can target probably the coming Diwali. Now you see, during these periods, you have these offers coming up from the banks. A lot of banks start saying that we'll give you gold coins, or maybe Diwali will, or Akshay Tirtha or something. So all that is kind of now getting targeted marketing based on what the sale happened last time. Or they could also target their customers, saying that nobody came in to buy and you are a good customer, we'll offer you some discount, please do. So it's that advantage that you get once that data is available for you. So that data can help you do that marketing.
New product launch.
Right, new product launch, and the timing also. It helps quite a lot to them, because it's a particularly a lot of time. I remember once we were at Reliance, when the earlier Reliance Communications started. So you people may recall this had happened. That was a big fiasco to them. They had announced colored mobiles the first time, and they were not prepared with the inventory and stocks. So the timing was very wrong. Basically, they bombarded everywhere. At least in Bombay, I know most of these hoardings and everywhere they said Reliance comes up with a colored mobile phone here. People started booking it, but they didn't have in the bank, because that was about 2 months still to come in. The manufacturing part where you could get those phones. And it really bombarded, because by the time Samsung or others started coming in, and people were so cheesed off with this episode that they never took those phones. So then they came up with other idea of giving some and all that with buying their phones and all. But this is how the losses are. So I recall the number they spoke to me were some 80 crores or 90 crores of loss. Just because of a wrong timing of an advertisement. If they had that data earlier, at least from the side of manufacturing, that guy would have told us that if they had a coordinated way of finding out when the product will be available and then time the advertisement, it would have helped them. So that market intelligence was missing.
That
Lot of time.
stop paying bills. At
Yeah.
that time, they stopped paying bills.
A lot of people were and I remember the marketing, the CMO speaking to us saying that we do it by gut feel. I said, gut feel would mean what? He said, we don't have any data to. I don't know when this guy will be ready with it or not. But I have been told I have a mandate, I have to advertise, I do it. So whether it's a loss to company or not is obviously it becomes a little bit of an issue for that. Similarly, business
Similarly,
was
Freedom 251 new phone launched 2 or 3 months back, backfired. The people don't know what's the cost,
yeah.
what will be demand, any booking was
And it,
yeah.
but it has people are like booked it crazily.
Yes.
But now
Just
they are
because
sending it.
Sending it now.
they started it.
Yes.
Because a lot of skepticism was there that whether they will or whether they will not or
That is my lottery problem.
yeah, I don't know. So the third thing about secret intelligence is the one where this ethical privacy and all that comes in. The companies like Google and Amazon or maybe this Facebook and all that, that is where this intelligence is going in. We don't know properly, but there is a lot of intelligence they are using about us, about our life, just like what we do, where we go, which websites we visit. I don't know if you people know about this Microsoft 10 which came in free. An upgrade was being given free, right? So within that software they had built in whatever you do on your laptop or desktop, that will be captured. And while you were saying the terms and conditions, you accepted that yes, that data will be shared. And that is the reason why they gave it free. So recently there was a case and then they had to withdraw that. Now at least they have to tell the people, but imagine it. You sitting at home using some Excel files about your own business data and all. Microsoft comes to know that you use Excel and you use it for this purpose. It's like that.
See, that informed consent is going to be a big problem.
Yeah. Because most of the times what we do is when you look at the terms and conditions, who reads all that small stuff which is written there? We just I agree and move ahead, right? And that's what in fact I also did that when it was Windows. I had Windows 7 which was a legal copy. So they kept on popping up. Windows 10 till July you get it free. So at one time I gave up. I said okay, let's take it. So after that, now you come to know after a few months that when I loaded that Microsoft 10, every action that I take, which YouTube visits I am going to, which files I am downloaded, everything if it is being done through that Explorer, the Microsoft 10 loads it and puts it to them so that they can analyze that Microsoft 10 is being used for these purposes and whatever websites are being listed, what downloads are happening.
So Microsoft 10 mean that upgradation to Windows 10
Yes,
operating system.
yes, right. So Microsoft Windows 10, which was given in free.
And there's this joke on accepting terms and conditions thing, based on Arvind Kejriwal's honesty, that Arvind Kejriwal is the only one who reads the entire set of conditions before thinking I agree.
Obviously, there are.
But Microsoft is a one-way contract. No, you can't negotiate that I
Yeah.
don't want these two clauses. So you might as well sign it.
Either take or leave.
Yeah, take or leave. And no, the question was not that about take or leave. Most of the times, these things are not happening. So that's why recently there was a case and all that, and then Microsoft had to withdraw it. But the fact of the matter was, I was also quit because otherwise Microsoft 8 was costing us some 8,000 rupees to buy and get a legal copy. And this they were giving it free for anybody who has a Microsoft 7 or any legal version. So the catch was this: in that process, they generated so much of data to get that intelligence. I don't know whether they sold that information to anybody or maybe they had a type with Google or someone to share it. But this is how things happen. So that is like a secret intelligence, which you call it, that you don't know what is happening. Even Amazon does that. If you people must have noticed, If you go to Amazon, you even hover your mouse over some product for a time, say about 7, 8 or 10 seconds, you are just using the click of that mouse over that. After that, in your Yahoo account and all, you start getting ads for that particular product.
Even in Facebook, they keep popping.
And they'll start popping up. So this is how these people are collecting data and then bombarding you with that type of product because they consider that you probably are interested, but you're not taking a decision right now. So the next time you may, so they entice you into doing it.
That thing does not happen, that popping of thing within the same browser. If you are opening up different tabs, one tab maybe of some university, some railway, the ad may not be popping up. You visit the third site, say CNN.com, and suddenly you will see what you were searching on Amazon.
Yeah.
So they have some collaboration from behind the door.
That's what I was saying. Probably they have tie-ups with Google or somebody else. That they what they call as AdSense. This is known as AdSense. So it's a technology they now call it, but the fact of the matter is sometimes you may or you may not be interested to have it this way. But still it happens. There was a joke like you remember people showering and then suddenly there are people who come in and say that you need a shampoo. And he said, how do you know? He said, because of your buying habits. Last night your shampoo must have exhausted. So it's like crazy. That is going beyond the privacy, but that happens. So a lot of these things are now being highlighted, but then this is how they thrive. Google and the Amazons of the world, they are basically into that only.
I'll take the liberty of sharing an incident
Yes, sure.
wherein secret intelligence is used by countries.
Yeah,
I was the head of naval intelligence. So
Okay.
once a month, all the intelligence heads used to meet, Prof, IB, etc. We sat down once and we got the report from Maharashtra saying that Maharashtra government had bought modems from Huawei, and it was realized that every modem had a chip
Yes.
with the server placed in North Korea.
Okay.
Imagine how China was, and then linked to China.
Yeah.
So we stopped that, and thereafter it took quite a while before any Chinese product was competitive.
So also actually there's a one thing that actually I'm into railway, SND. So recently actually railway board has issued a letter that they have given 14 companies that anybody who is working in SND they can import from the 14 companies only. That is how in defense also all Indian governments are like they're very caring about the defense as well as the readiness. Because these people are like anything they are supplying. They are doing something.
I think there was a new news about going out in rounds about Samsung phones. The battery itself has some chip or something which always sends your location and everything to Samsung or maybe some company. Even this new game which is coming is Pokemon Go. You're basically whenever your camera is on and you're taking out pictures, there are some people sitting in Singapore looking at that and you're basically exposing part of things on that. So there are a lot of things which are happening, but obviously we are not aware. Sometimes we are, but sometimes
Actually, in this world, we are naked. Everything that you do is known.
yeah. So when that's why
Google knows everything.
we are basically the other thing is we are also leaving what they called it big data was started with that only. When they said that we are leaving our digital trace while we are into that logged in with any of the browsers or stuff like that. Now this was really funny when this Microsoft 10 story came in, where you are not even logged in but doing something on your own. It's just that the internet is on, but you are looking at your own files or opening up some stuff with Excel or Word and all. So, and that data is also still taken up by these people, which was
So what sort of vicarious pleasure they might be getting?
I'm not sure how and what, except that yes, I come to know that people are starting to get aware and all how they're stopping it. I don't know that modem stuff where they could find out that these modems were sending messages, they could hold it. Otherwise, there's still so much thing which is unknown. where the messages are going or what type of stuff is being
You are
transferred.
saying now that we are going to put our servers in Singapore. I attended one, there was some launch of some product, and very emphatically they were just insisting, and now we are very safe, very safe.
Yeah.
Our servers are in Singapore. We are going to put it there.
No, but the fact of the matter is nobody is safe as such. Hackers are also there. Yeah, because there is all that is there, but besides that, there are still hackers who go in. Now they have also given you an option of going incognito, right? So you can log into a website to incognito and do Amazon and all that stuff, and maybe you will not get those ads being bombarded. Even companies like this ClearTrip, Go, IPGo, if you notice, recently it was observed by somebody who explained to me. If you are buying a ticket for a trip, you go to the last moment, you don't buy it and come back. It will record you that you wanted to go from Bombay to Delhi at whatever price. And next time when you go, it will bump up that price. You can try it out. It works. Because they know that this time you are final. Last time probably you were just exploring whether you have to go or not. So the next time when you are, as you logged in and you try that, all the fares will be increased by some 100, 200 rupees so that at least they can make some money out of it.
I'm facing this thing since last 1 week. Whenever I go to any news, now Bharat Times of India, CNN, Al Jazeera, everywhere it is showing me Delhi to Bangalore,
Yeah.
Delhi to Bangalore, because I
Yeah.
bought
Once you had probably either
What
bought
is
or
interesting
maybe
is even after you have done the trip, it keeps coming. So what is very interesting, the part which is not done yet is collect the data that he now made the trip, don't send this back. So it happened with me. So sometimes I plan to go to Pune. So even after I finished it, because there's no way of having validated that I already made that trip.
they're probably getting
That will be the next level.
like the next level of intelligence they'll put inside. But there are so many stories about your.
And if they become sure that you bought the ticket, then they show you the hotels and
Yeah, that is there itself.
So like, for example, I have got an entity which is training people on technology and IT technology. And they are doing it for free. So I said, why you are doing free? Because we are creating an algorithm, what kind of people will perform.
Yeah.
This is huge. Like they are working with hundreds of people just to identify what are the measures so that they can understand these people are going to perform. And then they will be putting their focus only on these kind of things.
Which is again ethical concept, right? A lot of even HR companies have started identifying candidates, how much of distance, even Bombay is very common now. The travel to work, where does he stay, on that basis that they call them guy for interview, which is not correct because that guy may be very good, but you're losing a nice candidate, except that you have so many parameters to ascertain whether the guy may be joining or may not be joining just because he stays there, and there's other factors also. Now, companies have started also observing their own existing employees basis that and telling them about their performances and all so that they leave because they otherwise also know within a whatever small period they may not like to stay there. Now that is whether it's ethical or not, I don't know, but yes. That is again like dislike, opinion, perspective which we put in about in our Facebook mostly. So all that gives out that digital. These are basically just some slides about what we have already shared on WhatsApp. So that's another part of where that machine learning comes in. So the oil companies, these manufacturing companies, they always knew that there was a way. I can relate an example recently. Pizza Hut. So there is a factory in New Bombay which uses that dough to create that final. So from flour to that dough. base, that piece of base is created, they knew there was pilferage going on somewhere, because from that amount of floor, the amount of dough which was created, it was not matching. So all they had to do was find out through sensors where it is being put in loss. Where, supposedly from here it was 2 kgs and then suddenly it became 1.5 and they could find out through their sensors. So they put in CCTVs and then analyzed it. They found out there are people who are trying to pilfer it. So there was some leakage somewhere happening in the machine. So things like that is now getting, where we call it machine learning or what. You had data, you had all that, but you were not able to pinpoint it. Companies have started and they've saved millions of rupees now because dough is dough in any case, and that's a manufacturing. They pay for it, but they don't get that much. And obviously, whatever they could save was enough for recovering all that data analysis which they could.
Sometimes even this gathering of data and all that surveillance, that doesn't work. Like years back, there was a lot of theft going on in IGI. Airport.
Delhi.
Delhi airport.
Oh,
international
airport.
And किसी की घड़ी निकल गई, किसी का पर्स निकल गया.
हाँ.
This was happening. They were very upset.
From their luggage, is it?
From their luggage. And especially the one which goes in.
Yeah.
Checked in.
Luggage pilferage is common. All over the world it is. Yeah.
Now lots of cameras are there, and maybe there some intelligence is there, but still a lot of theft was happening. Then they contacted psychologists, and they started doing profiling of the all
People
those people who were
working.
handling the baggage.
Handlers.
From there, they came down to pinpointed certain 8-10 people who were likely to be
Working in collusion. Okay.
And out of those 5-6 were caught.
Yeah.
So all those, this intelligence, everything, cameras, this thing, it didn't work.
But ultimately they did a profiling.
They did a profiling with human intervention.
Oh, yes. But obviously, see, data can only help you to an extent that it can collect. It will always be, as I was saying, small companies or big companies, lot of times there is data which is being, so current the issue is about this big data is the same. Most of the organizations have hoarded so much of data and they don't know what to do with that.
Basically, it's a base for decision
making.
But
And they're doing it like everybody of us also does, right? Keep this stuff, maybe kabhi kam aayega. We also keep a lot of stuff. Similarly, companies are taking it. Data lakes, which the new term has come in. Data lakes takes in all PDF files, unstructured video files, AVI files. Everything goes inside that. And then there are tools which can read it through that and get some insight. But people don't know what to do with it. So they are hoarding it, and tons of Excel data or whatever, exabytes of data or terabytes or whatever, keep on there getting inside because storage is not that expensive enough. But they are still not able to decide on what to do with it. Some report, some MIS. Most of the people, even the PSUs or the banks, private banks I have been meeting with ICICI Bank, they have a very good system, but if you probably have suffered from HDFC Bank, I know they're really bad at it. I have an account there, which probably even a saving bank account, which may be having 1 or 2 lakh rupees, and they'll call me to ask if we need a personal loan of 1 lakh rupees. I just have to go back and tell them, look at my saving bank. Why would I need a personal loan when there is already a lakh of rupees there? I am not using it. So that kind of simple intelligence is still missing. So they are struggling in finding out what's the best way to do it. So that is also a big challenge, where the people, like when you said SME, I was thinking about those subject matter experts who are not intelligent enough to know from the data and guess what can be the best way to use it, or probably do the business intelligence from that. So this all started basically from business intelligence, where they were finding out better ways to do business. There are just two things in any business, right? Make profits, reduce cost. So out of those two, this data helps to either reduce cost or make profit. But it's not so difficult to think of it. But there are ways to find out. Lot of times people who are doing it like those gandhi mein baithne wale people you know, right? They had that much of acumen knowing each customer, each product. यहाँ पे अभी भी है. You find it. Lot of these small businesses do pretty good without any technology, anything. वो कितने दिन बाद हमारा ये वो खत्म हो जाएगा, नमक कब रिप्लेनिश होना है, किस वक्त फोन करना है, they are running their businesses pretty well. So this can just support it. Whatever big data, small data or any data, all kinds of businesses. The crux of that is how you utilize it and probably find out.
Analytics becomes a very important part.
The analytics part is basically the crux of it. So luckily India is considered pretty analytical. Lots of the companies, if you look at the best 15, 10 or whatever in the world, you'll find most of them are Indians. I don't know the reason, but Indians have quite a good analytical mind. So the companies are doing pretty good on analytics, or they have opened up the companies and they are helping out US-based, European-based companies into that. So
I'll give you another example why human mind is so important. In the Navy, the ship is packed with technology. What happens is that I'm answering his question. Why the human mind works? You see, what happens is that there's an omnipresent, omnidirectional radar which looks for an aircraft. Then automatically, if it comes into the zone, it gets on to a fire control radar which is unidirectional. Then when it is coming beyond, automatically chaff is thrown, which is electronic countermeasures.
okay.
And electronic countermeasures. These are all passive actions. I was commander of the guard, so we used to write this a lot.
Yeah.
But it stops there. Thereafter, the next action is to fire a missile. That only happens when the human presses the button.
Yeah. Because it's also probably a safety.
Beyond a certain level, it has to be a human mind which has to decide.
Correct. Nowadays they are automating this stuff, which is again quite referred to during this big data stuff. Because there could be decisions which the computer may not take right. However, in the businesses, this happens. Even in a manufacturing, if you see, I recall being ITC, they use these boxes. They also did cigarette boxes. So when the phones came in, the mobile phone boxes orders they got. All these nice looking boxes used to come, right, for each mobile phone. So I remember I met the CIO there who was working in that factory. He said that the problem with us is if the material is bad, the paper material, by the time we stop it, we already wasted thousands of those cartons. And obviously that's a total loss. So there is what you see as a human intervention is a must. If they left it all on the machine will keep on doing it because the machine didn't have a measure to find out the thickness of the cardboard and all that. If there was a wrong cardboard feeded, obviously that's gone. Similarly,
but that can still be managed. The issue, what he is raising is very different. Like, as per him, we are going to create terminators. So then it is going to be an issue.
No, that's right.
That weight or the paper can still be managed with machine.
Managed in the sense they were running into losses, right? Because that carton of paper or whatever, once those are made, they will not be sold. So it's all their major losses. Similarly, ITC, I also remember there was another business problem they discussed with me. They had some, if you see, ready to eat food they manufacture. And that they had a factory at Hardwar. So they said it was all timed. See, these shelf lives with achars and stuff like that, 10 days or 15 days. So the truck loads it, it starts. And they went up to Haryana and then there was a chart, whatever that agitation. Now the truck is stuck there. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, you don't know how long will it take. The problem was all that ready-to-eat food gets rotten because you can't sell it. Nobody will buy it. All those small retailers and distributors will not even take it. They'll say 2 days is left. I will not be able to sell it. So they cancel the orders. And the other problem was to destroy itself. It is not to be just thrown in garbage and all. They have a process to destroy ready-to-eat food because it's a food material and all. That was an additional loss they had to do. So they found out they were asking our help to find out some intelligence basis that RFID and all that to know the location of the. Now it is possible because of the GPS and easily knowing that that truck is stuck there. So now they immediately take action by finding out, okay, now it's stuck at Delhi. So they call all the distributors in Delhi, give it on discount. So buy it and at least use that product. Or maybe if it is sold or not sold is different, but 80-70% of it may be used. Because there could be, even if there is no demand, but at least given a lot of discounts if you start selling it. You might have seen it now, most of these are these superstores and all put as stuff. One pay, one free and all that. All that is basically that. Because they know कि इसके बाद if after 2 months it's not sold, it will all going to expire. And they won't be able to sell it also. So the one pay, one free, at least somebody picks it up. Partially or whatever. So that was also, these type of business problems they have to think of. Even Reliance does a lot of stuff on that. If you see those apples and all, they have small stickers with barcodes. So each and every item goes through that while they are putting it, so they know that this item is going today and it will probably rotten in 15-20 days. And they keep a record of it. So they find out that within 20 days whether it has reached the destination or not. If not, then obviously you know that you have to make some countermeasures. Whether it's sell it in the vegetable market or somewhere where our hotels or places like that, where they can immediately be utilized. Otherwise, the distributor won't take it. So they know that by the time it goes to the other sellers, it will not be fit for eating. So that is where I said these type of business problems have to be first envisaged, and that is where it is said that you have to have smart data instead of just having big or small data. Smart was basically S stands for the strategy. You decide what you want to do with it.
Yes, that's
First thing is in a business organization, if you are starting to collect data, whether big or small, you have to define a strategy. What business problem are you going to solve? And whether that data is the right thing to help you out on that, then start looking at coding it or analyzing or doing whatever in that. Then this is again the human conversations. Nowadays, even AVI files, whatever we are talking, all that is being the CDRs, which they call as call data records. In fact, the police has now developed a lot of stuff in Bombay, this type of all the calls and that chatter which is going, and they have identified numbers. So anybody like with Vodafone, Reliance and all, they have a way to find out these typical phone numbers, whatever they're chatting, that is how they can preempt that there is going to be a terror strike or something like that. So they monitor all these chat records. And then the police, whatever, commissioner or whatever intelligence people, they get that and analyze it within. So if they feel that that bus is little higher, then they can preempt, because a lot of these terror attacks are being now withered out before that happens. Just basis this data that noise chatter, these telephones are now active, too many talks are going on, places that they can go. Even in Chicago, there is an example that due to big data, they call it big data, but it's basically that chatter and all. The police visited a place where they were planning to rob a bank tonight, and they opened it up and they said, "We know that you are going to do it. Now you have done." So that is how this big data can help, where intelligence really matters.
I was just reading a fiction sometime back, and this was a story about a FBI agent, and he has to have do an assassination of the president of Russia. And then what they do, the top agent in the FBI, what she does, she has all the information and data of whenever the president of USA was speaking, off phone, on the public or whatever way.
With the present president.
So they were having, and what they have done, like now, if they want, they can make sure that president of USA is talking to somebody on phone with that data they are having. Means that software they have created, that software can talk to somebody as if president is talking. So that again is a similar example. Was I able to convey what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, there are so many now. In fact, besides businesses, intelligence, I think these police forces have improved a lot recently. Just analyzing the data, we don't know a lot of times what is happening. But even the car plates, these numbers are marked. Lot of times they are now starting to put all the CCTVs and these squares and all that, squares all that CCTV. They are meant for that because they get an information about the car number plates, and whenever that is passing from that site and all, they immediately ping it out.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, with IoT we have all devices constantly relaying data, right? Then big data is used for analyzing that data, and then there's machine intelligence and AI. So can you just give us an overview of how all these things will connect together with what technology being used at every
IoT
stage?
basically is not collecting itself.
No, I said relaying data.
Yeah. IoT has sensors which relays data, and then there is a cloud where all that data gets in.
Okay.
And then there is a software which probably takes action basis whatever message is coming in. So a good example is like if you are traveling, you can through your smartphone decide that the AC is switched on because in 10 minutes you should be there. Whether it's 10 minutes or 15 is different, but then that AC will get switched on and all. And by the time you reach, it will make you comfortable so that you are there.
So that software which takes decisions like based on whatever algorithms have been fed are a part of big data only.
It's not a part of big data. That's a simple application. Like now they have doorbells also, right? So once you have a doorbell with the camera, somebody comes into your house, you'll get a message in your phone. You can look at that guy on the phone
Right.
and find out who it is, and basis that you can decide and talk and tell him whether if it's a courier, you can tell him that give it to the neighbor or maybe to the guard, or you can let the courier leave it there and basis that. So even if you are inside the house, you can do it, or if you are in office, you can do it. That guy won't even know whether you are talking to him inside or.
Right.
So, but that data again, when this happens, so there is a Wi-Fi which is connected. Through that Wi-Fi, the message goes to the cloud. There is an application which pings you on your smartphone, like all your SMSs and other things. Which, if you do a bank transaction, you get an SMS, right, in that ATM. So it's a similar software.
Okay. So my question was like since big data is about analyzing data, the software which helps us in that analysis is also like it's a part of big data only.
It's not directly say that it's part of big data. Big data is taking out the value. You can say overall yes, the value which is coming out, the advantage of the facility or whatever you are getting is big data is helping in it. But writing those applications or the machine learning itself and all, they can be correlated because without the data you cannot do anything, right? It has to have that capturing of the picture or all that, and that becomes data, and that moves on through the Wi-Fi to the cloud, and then somebody again, maybe whatever type of way you are writing that code, can go through that picture and then decide on whatever SMS happens. But that is an application. So even in banks, we have applications which are running on these ATMs. It's a small client server kind of stuff. When you put in your card, immediately even fraud monitoring and all that, everything is like that. So there is not much of a difference between IoT and all, except that in IoT then they are moving it on cloud.
IoT is more on to data acquisition, and then big data is handling it.
Yes. Again, that big data is not that technology which writes those applications.
It's more like the data.
You call it big data basically, that's why it's a butchered term. You can say it. Big data, you are calling everything big data, basically big data. Big data is just as I said, it's a small data, it's always in there.
It's an input for the application software.
So it's any data, it's just data.
Means the processing we are processing certain information, so processing part is not it doesn't come under this big data.
Yeah. So now there are tools which have come in. Earlier there were tools which could only run on structured data. When you say structured data, is that simple tables,
RDBMS.
yeah, RDBMS tables, or maybe even like an Excel sheet, you have the data in each cell. So somebody could run through the cells and run a query, find out how many times this has occurred or not occurred and all that. But now, even in a PDF file, you can run a query which can tell you how many times THE, like the word, has come out. So PDF otherwise, even eyeballing and finding out THE is a difficult. But there are technologies available which can do that. Even Cassandra and all these MapReduce and all big data technologies, they call it basically because earlier it was also not possible to capture video capture. Right now you are able to do a video capture the whole day's movie inside. So there is a product known as Autonomy which was doing it for Super Bowl happens in US. Earlier, these advertising companies did what? They used to throw, okay, per second in the whole Super Bowl. Super Bowl is probably 1 hour. In the whole Super Bowl, per second charges were there. For 3 seconds, your advertisement will be put in 20 times. And accordingly, so many $1 million you have to pay. Now the guy has to either sit down and notice that all that 3 seconds into 20 happened or not, which was difficult. So now whole Super Bowl stored inside a movie file, whatever AVI or MP3 or something. There is a product which is Autonomy which runs and you can define what exactly you are looking for. Supposedly an ad for a cigarette or ad for any typical beer or something comes in. So every time it happens, it will calculate and give you the number. This, if you call it big data, yes, because obviously there are so many times, so many ads are happening. Out of that, you are able to find out and give you the exact number. That's part of technology. But then again, these type of technologies are coming. That's why big data has become important. Earlier, it wasn't even possible to go inside a video file and find out this. Right? Face recognition is one part of it. Nowadays, in education, I've shared that, right? In the education system, in the classroom, you put in cameras, you are observing the features of the people, the feelings of the people, how emotional they are. Even in exams and interviews, they put in video cameras and then later analyze at what questions people were worried, looked as quite dazzled or maybe very confident, and accordingly they can frame those questions to ask to the other interviewers. All that is possible basically because again, the recognition data moves inside some application from where that is analyzed. But the actions are quick. Even in phones, if you see, there are times when you can take a picture and somebody smiles. So that teeth, when they are shown, there is an action happening. So as soon as somebody starts smiling, you will take a picture. You may not even have to do that.
Smile mode.
Yeah, smile mode they call it. So that again is
Depending upon the context, whether you consider it a big data or a garbage, it depends upon the context. हमारे लिए जो एक piece of information है आपके लिए garbage है.
It could be, yeah. And also that earlier we couldn't even imagine that. ऐसा कुछ हो सकेगा, but now there are new ways of what you can say technology coming in. Oh, the refrigerator they are saying will be able to decide when you need milk or eggs. So कुछ नहीं है ना, that's just sensors coming. Where you keep the eggs, it decides now 6 में से 3 बचे या 2 बचे because the weight of that egg is not there. So it is assumed that you have used both. Or you have 2, obviously you need replacement. And they are also planning that it can directly order because it knows that which grocery store or big whatever big bazaar or big data or big market क्या नाम देके उन लोगों ने.
So then how does machine intelligence or AI tie up with all this?
That is where the software comes in.
Okay, that software
Yeah.
is machine intelligence.
Yeah.
Okay.
The software has to, machine intelligence again, you have to write program.
Yeah.
So it's like a software you write which can understand this data and work on it and also take an action. Okay? Very simple ATM में आप As soon as you probably you are standing there when your money comes in and you get a SMS, right? It's that quick. Wait, it's just the same thing. It's just an enhanced version of all those things which are happening.
So thank you. Let's have a tea break now.
Acha.
Then we can continue.
I think this is also done.
Right. So let's have a tea break. And as far as your thing is concerned, you see the whole idea is eventually the world is one we want to solve problems. For convenience, we said this is data storage part, this is this part, this is this part, this is machine intelligence part. So machine intelligence becomes a general methodology which you can apply to many places. That will also just begin to progress again. For long years, nothing much happened. There was a lot of promise of artificial intelligence, but nothing happened till last 5 years when deep learning became a model of this thing. Now there are about 4 or 5 major algorithms which machine learning uses, and there's a search probably for the master algorithm, which is then just one thing and it will do anything. Today, somewhere you use Bayes theorem, somewhere you use categorization, somewhere you put this again so that there is a line dividing, clustering, and neighbor, and so on and so forth. So if you're sufficiently interested, we'll have one session on machine learning also.
Yeah. Because that's